Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the How to Be Magical podcast. This is your host, Nikki Buchanan. I'm the host of How to Be Magical, and today we are here with a very special guest, New York's own Angie the Brujx, Angelica Crespo, right? I'm gonna read her mission statement because she is someone who I became acquainted with many years ago. She's always been a loving, sweet soul. She's very kind. She's very generous with her time and her energy, and I'm so grateful for her to be here. And I'm so grateful to share her lovely essence and her mission with our audience today. So just to read our mission statement before we get into it. Now, you're going to have to correct me. I don't know how to pronounce things with the X at the end. How do we pronounce this?
Brujx.
Brujx. Okay, so
Yeah.
the Brujx offers holistic services and products that center the collective and individual wellness of Black and Indigenous people. With roots from the Bronx to the Caribbean, she taps into trauma-informed mindfulness tools that include sound medicine, Reiki, organic healing, organic herbal remedies, full spectrum doula-ship, and teaching artist workshops to co-create a space of safety, empowerment, and balance. Focusing on women, queer, and gender expansive folks within the diaspora, the Brujx works to collectively fill the spiritual void present in Western culture by meeting you wherever you are on your journey and helping to build a bridge between disparity and prosperity. And shade to that. What? Yes, that's a mission statement. Angie, thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
I am well. It's been a wonderful summer. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Listen, it's been a hot girl summer. Okay, I know you're a hottie, right? We haven't talked about this. We haven't gotten into this, but I know you're a hottie. It's been a hot girl summer. I've been trying to enjoy myself as much as possible and take better care of myself and just try to like slow down when I can. But I think you of all people know about how important it is, like the body and the way that we process trauma and the way that we have to be responsible. While the world puts a lot of things on us as humans, as individuals, as marginalized people in a society, we still have to take time for ourselves and still have to take time to process the things that we're going through as well as refortifying ourselves. So it's nice. It's not even just more than nice. It's integral. It's important. It's vital that we have people like you in the community to help people navigate through these things because there's a lot to navigate, and being from New York yourself, you already know like the energetic vibe of New York City is like up here. Like it's like, and you're in the Bronx, and this is not I will not allow no Bronx slander, so don't nobody come and start talking crazy about the Bronx because we don't do that over here. But you're from the Bronx, so you already know it could be a 10. Okay, you're trying to go to the store, you minding your business, you just like, why? What's going on? Why is all this happening? So there's so much to unpack, right? But I just want to just straight out the gate. How did you first come in contact with like tarot and Reiki? Like what was your interest? What drew you to these practices?
So in college, I was introduced to tarot from a mentor of mine who gave me a deck of cards. And I guess it was coming up for me, like spirituality. And I took a liking to it because I used to do like divination with my grandmother. She had like a little Mary book and she would tell me, she like showed me how to do it. She was like, okay, so you need to like pray to God, because she was religious, and say like, ask the Virgin Mary and God to like tell you what you need and the message will come. And so doing tarot reminded me of that. And then I just started doing that myself. And um, then I got into more oracle cards too. And Reiki happened a little later, I think outside of college. And I think I had come across people in the community that were doing it. And I was like, okay, I want to do this, but I'm not Japanese. And um, I want to do it in a respectful way. And I found a really great organization that was doing it, transgressive medicine. And from there, I got trained. And I think that was like in 2019 or yeah, or 2020, one of those. And I was like, okay, I really like this. I really enjoy the idea of like being able to use your hands for healing. And it felt very natural because I had been doing like meditations since college as well, because I was in therapy since college. And I feel like I I feel like it's always hard explaining that to other people. Like, what do you mean? Like, especially being from here, like in the Bronx, like tell somebody like you're gonna heal them, like you're gonna put hands over them, and it sounds kind of crazy, but like when you think about it, I feel like you see that in the church growing up. You see that
I'm
like
just
with
about to say that. That's when them elders start laying hands on people. Like
yeah,
that's not all that different.
no, no. So I feel like it was also very natural too. Like I'm like, okay, I can see myself doing this and I see why I enjoy this and how this benefits me and how it could benefit other people. So I really love like Reiki, in particular like group Reiki too. I'm like, I like the idea of like mixing things. I've done like group Reiki sessions with sound bowls.
Ooh.
And I feel like that's also a nice way to incorporate different things for healing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And that's it's interesting. My mom is certified in Reiki now, and she's a licensed massage therapist. Like, so she went back to school to be a massage therapist. So it's kind of interesting. What she was like when she was explaining it to me. I was still like, again, I respect all of the modalities because you can't master everything, right? Some people everybody's gonna have their lane and everybody has their craft. But when you hear how other people are like incorporating their craft into their work, so like my mom with her massage therapy, like you with your like trauma and doula work, it's like it's interesting to see how these modalities fit into other things that are not necessarily, like you said, like I'm not Japanese, so like what is this, and there are some people who will say, well, I'm not Japanese, I'm not gonna touch that, but it's like it's not about just avoiding things that aren't natural, necessarily our ancestral practices. It's about honoring that these are practices that are modalities that, unless it's a closed practice, it is available for us to learn and figure out how we can incorporate it into our lives and elevate up the practice and spread the knowledge, and it's the next question is kind of feeding into how you were just speaking on your grandmother and how she, and I feel like our grandmothers, God bless the grandmothers, because I feel like everyone that has spoken to on this show has always referenced their grandmother, myself included. Like there's like our grandmothers are just like, grandma is like the first one to show you so many, bring us to the table and be like, come sit with me, even if we don't necessarily practice the way that they've practiced. I'm not Christian. My grandmother was a staunch Christian, but I still respect the way she, used her Bible. I respect her song. I respect it because it's like that's a practice that she carried, So the next question is saying, well, how does the ancestral, familiar, and communal wisdom influence your practice, right? So like, again, can you provide an example on how this has guided you, like in a reading or in a session?
Yes. So speaking of our grandmothers, I am my grandmother's namesake on my father's side. Um, so I feel like they're always with me. And um I'm grateful for that guidance. I feel like it's something that's been very necessary in my life. Um, and they provide me, I think, in terms of readings, a lot of clarity. Um, I would say s- sometimes it's different the way that they communicate. It's never like one way. I'm also forgetting the question. Could I? Let
It's
me.
okay. It says how does ancestral, familial, and communal wisdom influence your practice? So
Okay.
like, you know, there's ancestral where it's like, okay, that's the old OGs. We never met in life. But then there's familial, which to me is that's the living. You know, that's the recent ancestors, and then the communal, you know, of the people that we do this work with, you know. Do you do work with, like, so you say you like group sessions, so like even in something like that, like how different is a group session from like a solo session with the client?
Um, I feel like group sessions are dope in its own way because you're able to share in community, um, that transformative energy. Whereas individual, you can get into the nitty gritty is the difference. It's like,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, you're able to focus on that one individual versus the group. But I do feel like in terms of how my ancestral familial communal energy shows up for me is more so I feel like a lot of protection energy shows up. I feel like my main focus for what I've been doing is these past couple of years is like protection and clearing. And I feel like they really do guide me to just be like balanced. Um, and hmm, I feel like my ancestors just don't play about me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's like I'm just very sensitive to certain things and they're very much like we have things to do. And we need to make sure that we're being guided in these ways. I feel like I'm grateful for that and I feel like also they lead me to the people and the folks that I need to work with, you know, and um yeah, I think that's just coming up for me right now.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And that's interesting because, you know, again, it's like you'll find yourself drawn to certain practices and you're like, why y'all have me, like sometimes you're like, is this something that I'm genuinely interested in, or is this something that y'all are interested in? And you know, and it's just like I feel like sometimes we are some of our ancestors are living through us, you know, they're getting out some of their desires and some of their unmet needs and stuff through us, which is why we work with them and give them little things and, you know, keep them in close contact. But I always, in the back of my mind, I'm like, why y'all got me doing this? Like, what is this for? And then you come in contact with somebody and you're like, oh, okay, 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 you know. And if you have those elders that was always the person in the neighborhood that was somebody knocking on their door and they always, then you're like, oh, so you're trying to get me to take up that mantle. Now I don't know if I could take it on all the way, but
Right.
you know, right? Like I can't take it on in that way, but this is my way of doing it. And then y'all kind of like have like this nice little symbiotic relationship of like, okay, this is my way and this is your way, and then we meet in the middle and we do this together, you know. And it feels really good. And you're a Cancer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
What's your
that
sign?
I'm a Libra. I'm a Libra sun. So
To be your
I'm just an
birthday.
Aries. Yeah, my birthday's next month coming up. My birthday's in October. But yeah, I don't have much water. Well, I'm lying. I have Scorpio in my chart. That's the water in my chart. So
Okay. I'm a
yeah,
Scorpio,
I got. Oh, okay. I got trust issues, baby.
right?
I'm like, why? That's why I have to constantly go back to them of like, why you bringing these people over here? Because you know I don't even like people like that. Like, why are you bringing these people over here? And they're like, girl, calm down. All right, everybody's not out to get you. But no, that my grandmother was a Cancer, so it's like I understand. My grandmother had that energy, that very like Cancerian, very, I don't know. It was just a lot. Like she just had a lot of nurturing energy, and I just learned so much from her, just watching her, you know, nurture people and be a part of things, and you know, put so much into things, and her creativity, all of these things. You know, my grandmother, she was very much a strong guiding force in my life, and I feel like people who have that connection with their grandmothers, it's just like this thing, you know, where it's like you're old. Like you probably was like one of them little kids that was like you was a little old lady, and you like, yeah.
Yeah. My grandmother used to say I would be quiet. I would just be quiet, sit next to her and play.
Yep.
Like I was the
Yep.
best. I love her so much. I'd be right up under her, like
Same. I was like, that was my girl, please. She'd be like, girl, leave me alone. I'm like, why? I'm here. We
we're
hanging
having a
out.
great
So
time.
we're having a time, okay? Having a
She's like
time.
doing the rosary.
Yep. And my grandmother would be reading her little psalms, and one of the things that she used to do, she used to get these little devotionals called the Daily Bread, and it would be like a Bible verse and a little story every day, and that would be something she was giving us. Like, I would be in high school, I had my little daily bread in my backpack. When I went to college, she made sure I had my daily bread. Like, it was like her thing,
Wow.
And I found a copy of the Daily Bread a couple months ago, and I almost lost it. I was like, oh my god, the Daily Bread, and I was reading it and stuff, and I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot about
Oh,
this,
I have
and
one
it's like,
too.
yeah, those little things come in handy. It's like I said, I can't totally throw the whole Bible out, and I just can't. Like, I just can't. Like, I have my feelings, but I just can't. Right.
Hmm.
So for those people who are new to tarot or Reiki, what advice would you give them in terms of getting started? And are there any resources or practices that you would recommend for newcomers?
Yes, I would recommend 78 Degrees of Wisdom as a book, to start
Okay.
off. Because it's thorough and non-problematic and it's explaining stuff. But and I would say that I would start off with like intuitive things. I feel like that's what really guided me, especially to tarot, was just like kind of coming from that of like what does it mean to like listen to your gut, trust your intuition, and like our language for it would like it was like gut. Like my father would say like trust yourself or trust that gut feeling, whatever the case is. And I feel like starting from there, like I think sometimes people think that tarot is really like, so tell my future. It's just like, no, I'm not a fortune teller. I am a truth teller. I can tell you what's the energy around you. I can give you some advice for how to move forward or maybe things that are coming up. But I feel like sometimes, yes, sometimes I feel like you can predict the future. But it's not like, unless your guides are like, you need to know this, is it something that really does come up like that? So I really say that like there's Pinterest, there's a bunch of people that do different like I also have one too, a spread, like different spreads. They have like self-care spreads. I would always suggest like starting from that point of like um around the energy of like self-love, life purpose. Um I will also say that learning about like chakras and meditation and going into it like that, because what I really like Tatiana Tarot too, because she does
Oh, I
like
love her. I love
yes.
her.
She'll talk about like her, it's like a meditation when she pulls cards. I like the way that she names that like that, because I feel like that's kind of what I think about when I'm doing a reading. It's really like a moving meditation, right? Like breathing, being able to be still and receive, instead of more so being attached to any outcome, seeing like what do I need right now. I love a general message. I love a pull a card, see what it is. And we love these little booklets and stuff like that. Like depending on the tarot cards that you get. But that too, I would also recommend like being intentional about the cards that you're getting, because I feel like that makes a difference. Because even tarot is very it's white. It's very white supremacist energies. I feel like it can be because I feel like spirituality, the mainstream spirituality, I feel like is it colonizer, I want to say. Um I want to say that I don't know if it's colonized is the right word, but
No, I
um,
feel like a lot of stuff can be very whitewashed, and I feel like there's a lot
yes,
of like spiritual bypassing that gets promoted as like love and light, when it's like, okay,
like,
actually, it's not always love and light, and that's okay
or
too. Like,
toxic positivity, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm. Yes.
yeah,
So
and or
I
yeah, I
think
get that.
vetting the information that you're getting, like where you're getting your information from, using the critical thinking as well, when looking at different cards or decks that we're buying, um, and yeah.
Do you have any favorite decks, tarot decks or oracle decks?
Yes. Um, I feel like the way I rank my, I have a bunch of decks. So the way I rank my decks, I'm like, okay, this is elite. Not everybody can handle these decks. And my elite decks are the Akamara, the
Oh,
Grandma
oh,
Baby.
you already know.
There are other decks that I don't have that I really want to that I'm thinking of, but I can't remember their name. I really like what else am I thinking of? Hoodwitch has a deck. That was one of my first decks I bought myself. Um, I do like I have like the Doreen Virtue Goddess. Those are like
Oh,
if I want to do like regular readings, like oh we're gonna do a cute little reading. Okay, we're gonna do that. I have decks that are mudras, like the hand stuff. Um,
okay,
yes, and they give like affirmations. I have a mudra deck. I have a self-care deck. Um, I just recently got off of Temu angel numbers. I'm like, that's cute. I love the angel numbers. Um, what else? What other Oracle decks? Moonology.
okay.
Um, because you know my Cancer. Hoodoo Tarot. Um, I have a dream deck too.
Oh, whoa.
Yes,
What's
they
that
don't sell
about?
more. Um, I have it here actually. Wait, hold on.
Oh, let me see. I'm nosy.
Hmm. Oh yes, this animal deck too. Love these decks. But this deck is the dream deck. And it's about like your subconscious mind. So
Okay,
it gives different images. There's two different is this deck and there's a deck that has images on it only. So
okay,
it's meant to like get you to think about the images and to like reflect on it. And then they give like interesting prompts like if the image says door, it says closed and possibility as the meaning. And the seeker tries to get the door open. And
okay,
the quotes for this is some things are never meant to be. Either stand firm no matter what or accept and yield. So it's like little interesting prompts that get you to think about what's coming up for like the dreams and stuff like that. And sometimes I don't pull it just about dreams. I'll pull it about different things. I feel like that deck gets me together too. And they don't sell that anymore. Forgot the man who made that. Um
are you a
this
dreamer? Do you have dreams a lot?
I've always been a dreamer as a kid. Heavy dreams. Sometimes it's too far that I have to like gather myself. Um that's definitely been a thing. So, yes. I am such a dreamer that sometimes I feel like I struggle with insomnia because I'm like, I don't want to dream. Yes. Yeah. So
I'll
I
be
feel like,
honest. I'll be honest. I've been a heavy smoker of herb for years, right? Like since I was in high school, and I recently quit because I was like, okay, I got to get my dreams back. Because when I smoke, I don't dream, and that's in the past couple of years I was using it to not like so I could actually sleep because I'm like I cannot lay down and get no rest. Like it's like Star Wars followed by Roots followed by Harry Potter trilogy. I'm like I'm tired. But now I'm like, I will wake up. I'm like, yo, why am I so tired? Because it's like I done been all over town and I feel like I'm not getting no rest. So I figured out,
mm,
I'm like, oh, if I smoke, that kind of cuts that off. And then I was like, okay, this I don't want to disrespect anybody. I know some people like this is their time where they want to come and talk and okay. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take it down for a
uh,
second. But girl,
let me tell you.
the,
So
mm,
my dreams, luckily I had my therapist young from when I was in college, when I was younger. Um, he was like also a spiritual person. So I would tell him what was going on and he gave me a lot of great advice. And one of the things he said was to like say as affirmation to put up like spheres of protection over myself as I sleep. Um, and to call myself back from whatever 5D I'm going into. what I do is tell my ancestors is like, unless I really, 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 really need this message, please do not. Please do not. I do not need to know everything, actually. Like, there's to the point, this is why I knew I needed to become a doula, is because I dreamt about it. I had gotten actual Reiki done, and in the Reiki, she said that she saw me like around the woman giving birth. And I was like, get out of here, no thank you. That sounds I saw surgery one time. I was like in a medical program. I almost passed out. So I was like, I can't do blood. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. So then I got another reading and he was like, you need to become a doula. No, thank you. So I had a roommate. Her friend, I had a dream actually that my grandmother used to live in uptown Laconia. And I had a dream that my friend's friend was pregnant in my grandmother's bedroom. It was really weird. And she wasn't pregnant. Come to find out, the next week she was pregnant. She was fully pregnant in my dream. And I was just like, Angie, why is this happening? And I'm just like, I know why it's happening. And it's probably because I need to become a doula. And I was like, maybe I'll look into this more.
Well,
Well,
tell us about that. Like, how was that process of becoming a doula? Like, what kind of training did you receive? And like you said, it seems like you had to get over some limitations that you had with yourself, and that you were like staunchly against it. Which I find spiritually, like, no joke, I find that to be fucking hilarious after a while, because I'm like, the people that be getting called to do the work don't be wanting to do the work. They be like, please pick anybody else but me, and then God be like, I'm sorry, it's you, and you're like, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. They're like, but you're the best person for the job. And then here you are. And then you're like, all right, fine, I guess.
so of course I did my research. I was like, okay, I don't want to go to any white people to give birth. And there's a lot of reproductive trauma in my family. I would say, like, my mother was 18 and they were really rough for her when she gave birth to my brother, and she had like they gave her like 72 stitches on purpose to like hurt her. And here in the Bronx, my grandmother, who I told you, Angie, she passed when she was 40. She had an ectopic pregnancy. They didn't believe her in Lincoln, and she just she went to the emergency room. They didn't believe the level of pain that she was in, I believe is what happened. But she went in, she never came out. And they didn't know that she was having an ectopic pregnancy. So I feel like there's just a lot of trauma that kind of scared me around birth. I'm like, I take this very seriously. Like, this is no play. So I got trained in ancient doula song with Chanel, a Cancer. And I finished the program, I think, in like 2021. Right now, I'm working for the Citywide Doula Initiative. I've been working there for over a year now. Um, and I did like a mentorship through this birthing program in the Bronx that has like a bunch of different Bronx programs and uptown programs working together, like Say Birthing, Northern Manhattan. Uh, excuse me. What amazing people that are midwives, doulas, and doing this work. So yes, I was very grateful for that mentorship and to work for the Citywide Doula Initiative, even though they're playing with me right now. But I'm grateful for the clients. I have worked with on my own 1 to 2 clients without the Citywide Doula Initiative, and now I've worked with more because of that. And I think I've worked with like 8 to 10 clients at this point. I still feel
Okay.
like I'm very fresh. I'm also a person that I don't need to rush nothing. I'm not a person. I feel like sometimes I hear about these dudes like, "Oh, I need to work." I'm like, I feel like sometimes people want to make money, and that's why they do the work that they do. Quite frankly, I grew up broke. So I don't care about making money like that. That's not my, not that I'm necessarily broke. even though I kind of am. But I don't need to, like, that's not my main thing. Like, I'm not here to just, I need to get these births in and do that for that. Like, I really was like, I'm not playing with this. I need years, like, to be able to work with mothers, and especially because I haven't given birth and I saw what happened with my own mother and my grandmother. Like, I'm scared, and I want to make sure that whatever I do, I know what I'm doing, and I'm taking the time to like really have that like experience. So yes, I feel like that's been really what's been going on. I've had very beautiful clients and very beautiful relationships with my clients, and I feel like I don't mean to, but it just happens. It's like you're there for that person's birth. Like, and now the baby's there and you love the baby and the mommy. I'm gonna be in their lives forever now. That's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a very spiritual experience to give birth to, help someone in that way in their most vulnerable state. And we're like you've acknowledged, we have a serious crisis in this country in particular with black and brown women dying in childbirth or not being just dying in general, receiving inadequate medical care. And, medical racism is very real. There's still a lot that we don't know about black and brown women's bodies because it has not been properly studied, in terms of our womb health and our reproductive health. So it is important that we have people like you who truly care about it and don't, and not to say you don't ever want to get paid. Nobody's saying that, but like, if money is the motivator for people getting into these practices, that's just as bad as dealing with the racist doctors, like, I mean, it's just two sides of the same coin, honestly. And, it's like you said, it's a lifelong experience, like you helping this person in the most vulnerable time. You'll never be able, this person will never be able to forget you, like, ever, and I don't know. I think that's beautiful that women can have more options, and I'm pretty sure when you went to doula training that they talked about like the history of midwifery and all of these things. It's like doctors didn't even wash their damn hands before they was like the midwives are washing hands and sanitizing things, and they push the midwives out to say, oh, they're not real doctors. But it's like, but those women, were using ancestral practices, they were using herbal remedies, they were using modalities that we carry with us in the Middle Passage, that we carry with us in the islands and on this land. And the doctors in the medical establishment literally ignored all of that for decades, for centuries, and now they want to come back to it. It's like, it's nice, but at the same time, it's like, y'all owe the doulas and the midwives a lot more respect than you're giving them, and it's still not a very widespread practice. So I think that it's important, especially you're young. It's not even just like, I understand the sentiment of saying, well, I haven't birthed yet, but it's like, but you're still a woman, and you understand that mechanics, in that sense, right? Like, if we're going to talk about it in a biological sense, then yes, there are certain things that we experience that whether we give birth or not, we still have these bodies, we still have these wombs, we still carry womb trauma, we still carry reproductive trauma from our mothers and our aunts and our grandmothers. And it's like, if there's one person in the family that knows about these things, there should at least be one person in the family that knows about these things. God forbid, heaven forbid, something happens. We need to, have people as resources. And it's just very beautiful to see a young person like yourself saying, I want to get into this work. Like, I think that this work is important. I think that these practices are important. I think that these women and children are important, in a time where we're very marginalized, in a time when women are losing their rights at an alarming rate, at a time when black women and brown women are dying in childbirth. It's like, this is like resistance work at this point. It's more than just money. It's about, this is self-preservation. We need more people to come into these things, and we need them to take it very seriously. So I really appreciate you for taking, like, I understand that thought too of sometimes being like, I'm very green and I'm very fresh, but it's like, everybody got to start somewhere, everyone has to start somewhere, so I think for someone at your age, I think that you are very wise and you're very compassionate, and I feel like the compassion is what people need. The medical industry is lacking compassion.
Amen.
Wholeheartedly. lacking
Mm-hmm.
compassion. Like what happened to your grandmother Ibae is like should never have happened, but that happens a lot. Where you
Yeah.
go in the hospital and they're saying, "Oh, we're not going to believe you." They write it in their textbooks. Oh, black and brown people experience higher levels of have a higher pain tolerance. Like the fact that something like that can be written in a textbook and taught to doctors in this day and age is frightening. It's like you're gonna kill us. You're gonna kill somebody with that type of rhetoric, with that type of thinking. So this is like I see a lot of the work that you do as resistance work, you know, as fighting back, as anti-establishment work, as much as, you know, people want to be like, oh, I'm a freedom fighter. It's like, yeah, it's not about going to protests all the time. It's about you know, being there with people in their vulnerable moments, about helping people navigate through traumas, about helping people get in touch with themselves, about helping people, you know, have healthier birthing experiences. And I think that maybe you might have you already answered the question, because the next question was, what do you find the most rewarding about your work?
Mm, yes. I think it is the relationships being cultivated, the love that is shared. I think also where it leads me to, like the opportunities. And I think it's when I say opportunities, I mean like the opportunity to connect, the opportunity to meet like-minded people and to like bounce ideas off of, not just like being able to do different things, but I feel like that also happens too. It's like you're able to see like who's doing what, you know, and I feel like we all have our own niche. Like anti-oppression work cannot happen without community. And, you know, it's hard because obviously we live in this capitalistic society that, you know, we have to survive. And a lot of us are in survival mode. But I think it is important for those spaces where we can be like our authentic selves and we can thrive, you know, and I feel like doula work really does, I think, heal those parts of me that, you know, would love to have been there for my mother or my grandmother, you know, and knows that, you know, I got this mouth for a reason. Like I got this mouth and this brain put together for a reason, and we're gonna put it to good work. And in terms of like the other work I do, like the herbalist work I do, and like sound bowl sessions and Reiki and the teaching artist work, I feel like all of these things kind of like tie together in my head. Like they're different expressions of like who I am and how I show up for myself and how I've been showing up for myself. And I feel like um it's really highlighting my connection to my ancestors, number one. How I feel very much untuned and guided by them. And I'm really grateful for that because I don't necessarily have the familial support I feel like that other people do or that I usually see. And I feel like, as well as like that community support, I feel like it's really given me a strong, like my community really is my family and they really like look out for me and I'm able to like look out for them as well. Um, yes.
Okay. Now, in
Hmm.
terms of your herbalist work, um, what kind of work are we talking about? Like, are you creating things with herbs? Are you teaching people about herbs? Like, what's happening with the herbs?
So I'm selling herbal products. I'm selling teas. I have a bee still tea, a rooted tea, and a moonflow tea for different things. And I have a tincture that is for immunity, and I sell pills, capsules.
Okay.
So this started also with my grandmother. She's from Dominican Republic, and well, one of them is from Dominican Republic. And uh, she lived off the land. They don't come from nothing, you know, in the country, and you have to live off the land. So really learning from her, like seeing the things she would go to the ER, come back with like herbal remedies, like different honeys, and she always made me take certain things, and then would like give me coffee to like put it down, or like a spoon of sugar. And whenever I got sick, I had really bad asthma. She always had like her own remedies for things like that. If I had like any skin conditions, she would give me baths too. With like oats and her own little things that she was doing. And unfortunately, when I started doing this work, she already had passed. So it gave me the ability to just like really appreciate her more when I started learning more about it. So I was traveling, and they started in my, because I was traveling through my school. So they had us like go to like workshops on herbs, and like in Belize and Peru.
Oh
And
wow.
yes, I stood in Peru for 3 weeks. I was in Belize for like 2 weeks. And I in different areas. In Peru, I was in Cusco, Peru, and in Belize, I went to different places in Belize. So it was really interesting to learn more there. And then over the years, I did apply to Sacred Vibes apothecary training. I got in, and at this point when I got in, I didn't realize how sliding scales worked. So I didn't end up doing it, but I still just kept getting books and learning and reading. And because I also was like into wellness from like college, I was doing my own thing. So I learned to like, I was following all these like wellness people, and um I was taking like chlorophyll and my own, like I had really bad allergies, really bad eczema, really, and like all that inflammation stuff. I was like, okay, something's gotta give. And I learned about bee pollen. So now I make bee pollen pills. I also in Vermont, going to school in Vermont, they're very holistic, it's a country over there. So I had access to the good shit. And I forgot the name of it, but what is that called? Like not pantries, but yeah, they have
Co-ops.
co- co-ops. Yes, co-op,
Co-ops.
where they have like the herbs and the ground things, and I started like being able to do my own stuff. So I feel like now it's just me honing in on those things. Um, I still am. I did apply to Sacred Vibes again this year, because I do think that is important. Um, but yeah, that's why I keep whatever I'm doing is very simple. So it's not too much, and I feel like it's also medicines and like things that I've been taking. So like my Be Still tea is for anxiety. The original name for it was the knockout tea because I wanted something to knock me out because I have insomnia. And learning that herbs can help you with trauma and processing trauma, like vervain. So I started incorporating that into my daily, seeing how it was um, impacting me, and then also giving it to my friends. Like, can y'all, if you coming over here, we're gonna drink some tea, and they love it here. So we're here. Or sometimes people will tell me, okay, I have this, I have arthritis, or I have PCOS or something like that, and my friends are experiencing different things. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make you a tea. Or so yeah, and ideally, I feel like it makes me sad again to think about my grandmother who had dialysis. She had to take dialysis. She had diabetes, osteoporosis. She was really not well. She passed before she even turned 65. Both my grandmothers didn't make it past 65. And I feel like my Chiron is in Virgo. I'm gonna bring up astrology. And my Mars is in Virgo. And I feel like it does very much give like the
My
earth.
Mars is in Virgo too.
Yes. And this Mars retrograde right now in
And
Cancer.
this Mars, listen, my no, this my Mars in Virgo be having me. Oh gosh, it's never enough. It's like I have to finish this. I can't leave it unfinished. I have to finish this, and it's like just one more book, just one more, just one more, just one more. And you're like, next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, that's that
Yeah,
Mars and
I
Virgo
feel like
life, baby.
the detail oriented energy. there. I
I
see
got
that with
spreadsheets for days. Woo.
yes.
I love a spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet.
I love a spreadsheet. I love a database. I love the free resources.
What? What? Please. Excel hate to see me coming. Google Drive hate to see me coming because I'm there. Like, oh, I could organize. But no, it's like, I don't know. Both of my grandmothers lived, but they each had their individual traumas, you know, like one was very expressive. My cancer grandmother was very expressive and with like her emotions, and my Gemini grandmother was not expressive with her emotions at all. She was expressive, but she wasn't emotional. You know, she wasn't gonna tell you how she felt about anything. She would say the most wild, out of pocket things, but it was never about her in particular. It would be about externally, but I knew that was because she had a lot that she was carrying internally. And then when she got older and I learned more of her story, I was like, oh, I get it. You know, like,
Yeah.
and I wonder, like you said, like a lot of the work sometimes that we pick up is us trying to like understand or trying to reconnect or like bridge some things with our mothers or our grandmothers or even our fathers, you know, and the things that we learn along the way are our journey, you know. And it's like I'm very much on the tip of I don't want to, before I have kids, if I'm God willing, I don't want to put nothing on them, you know, like I don't want to traumatize them too much. I know I'm going to do something wrong, but I'm not trying to come into it traumatizing them. You know, I'm trying to, let me address some of my stuff so that way I could be a healthy whole person to like help another little person, little human, you know, be human. And you know, because there's a lot of things that you realize like people are a product of their time and you give them grace for that, but then there's sometimes where it's just like, nah, like we gotta, the buck stops here, like we can't keep this going, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's just that's just the work. No, go.
It is the work. I was gonna say my grandmother was a Gemini too, the one that raised me. So I get that. She was just like that too. Sorry, you could not go back and forth with that woman. Number one. And
you didn't want to. Yeah, you wouldn't want to. I would not want to go back and forth with my Gemini grandmother at all. But sometimes we did, and when we did, it would be a little stalemate because she'd be like, there was one time we got into it, and she said something to me like, "I'm your grandmother," and I was like, "And I'm your granddaughter," and we was just both looking at each other like,
Spider-Man.
Exactly, like, so what you saying? What are you saying? Like, I came off for you. I'm a chip off the old block. You spicy. I'm spicy too. What's up? And then that like neutralized it. But it was so funny. It was like, that was like a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like this woman she's too much, you know? Oh gosh. Okay. I want to play a little game of word association. Okay. So I'm gonna say a word and then you're gonna say the first thing that comes to mind. All right. So, body.
I thought of sensations.
Okay.
Full body.
Why'd you say that?
Because what comes to mind is like listening to your body, like feeling sensations and like allowing those sensations to guide you to, well, for me, to guide me to me. And I think like sometimes the things that come up in our body are messages that we may not mentally be able to receive yet or mentally know what is exactly happening, but it's a signal, you know.
Got you. Okay. Energy.
I think of keeping your energy clear.
And that's hard in a city like New York. Okay. Keeping your energy clear. It's hard. Yes. It's hard. Ancestors.
I think of reverence. Reverence and obedience, actually.
Definitely obedience. Spirit. Spirit.
I think of knowing.
Knowing.
So, like a higher knowing and like a knowing within our bodies.
Okay. And last one, love.
Community and I think of as within, so without. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
And
flexible.
then I like that little universal laws, little hermetic laws right there.
Hmm.
Um, and I got two other ones. So I'm gonna say the first part, and you're gonna finish it. I'm happiest when I'm dot dot dot.
I'm happiest when I'm in my bed with my cats.
You have cats? What are their names?
Oba and Sula.
Oba and Sula.
Yes,
Sula, like Sula Peace, like Toni
like Toni
Morrison's
Morrison.
Sula.
Yeah, it's like my favorite book. One of my favorites.
Oh my God, Sula, I love that book. That's like,
Me
yo, oh
too.
my God, that's such a good book. Like Sula was Sula Peace, bad bitch, okay? Came in, mashed up the whole city, had the whole town in an uproar,
Okay, burn
told
down the
everybody
house.
about their business, burned the house down, told her homegirl, you out here accepting some thin love, you might as well accept no love at all. Ooh. Sula said, listen, I only tried your man. I didn't even want him. Like, come on, girl,
But
please.
this is the tea with that, right? I feel like the reason why she tried the man is because there's the homophobia that could be present, and I feel like she didn't want the man. She just
She didn't
wanted
want the man.
attached to the woman, to her bestie.
Yes, she didn't want the man. She wanted now, but
Yes,
that's unacceptable.
it
So I
was.
definitely agree. But yes, oh gosh, I love Sula.
Me
Sula and
too.
Oba. Oh, I love Sula. Such a good book. Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right. And
Also,
then the last, no, go,
oh,
go, go, go.
I was thinking of like that's one of my favorite books because of the very blatant homophobia that I experienced growing up. And yeah. Getting beat as a kid for my mother finding me and my best friend. But yes. So
I'm sorry. Sorry that
it's
happened.
okay. It's okay. That's that old school.
That's that old school Caribbean. That's that old
Yes.
school, because, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I feel like in particular, like my mom told everyone, I'll never forget. She told everyone. And so my grandmother was like, like I think it's not okay for men, but it was just an extra not okay for the women. Like even though I feel like mainstream, like it's like more okay for men, but I feel like in the family, it's like you're letting down the family to be queer. It's like very different for femmes in that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's just unfortunate. And I feel like, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But this next question will lead is another one. So in a perfect world, dot dot dot.
In a perfect world, in a perfect world, the forces of oppression would not be there, and we would be existing in the world through the knowledge of indigenous people, and we would have respect for the land, and we would have access, and everyone would have what they need, and there'd be a lot of love and health. People would be taking herbs in my head and our farm, and everyone would have their own space. We wouldn't be all mashed up together here in different ways, and there'd be more access to things that promote our wellness and promote overall just health and a lot of joy and so much creativity when it comes to the food that we're making and that we're growing. So yeah, something about.
It sounds
Yeah.
like a world that I would like to live in. That sounds, and it's interesting that you say that, like, more access to health, because I've been like researching more like wellness things recently, and I'm just like, wow, New York, we really are far behind in terms of like our access to like wellness spaces, and just like even certain things. Like I was looking for like steam room sauna situation, and it's like, why I gotta spend all of this money to just go sit in some water? Like I just want to sit in steam, I just want to sit in the sauna, I just want to go for a soak. Like I would love to be able to just be like, all right, I'm gonna just spend $20 an hour and just go to the spot and just steam for a second, and I can have a little tea after and go on about my day. Because it's like, with so much stress that you deal with in the city, of just like the energy of the land itself, the just the sheer amount of people, the movement, the hustle and bustle. It's like a place like New York, we definitely need more wellness spaces. We are really lacking in that. So I hope that there's a way for your perfect world to come to fruition, because we need more healing and more wellness and more access to those things and more ease in general and more joy.
Yeah.
That's very important. Oh, this was so good. You're so sweet. I can't. Oh, girl, I can't. So is there any current or future projects that's going on that you would like to let people know about? Anything you got coming up?
Yes, so I did say my teas and my medicine. I do have readings that I do. You can check that on my IG. My website is down now, but it's gonna be up soon. Um, with doula work, one thing that I've come up across is domestic violence, gender-based violence, I will say a lot of that. And because of that, and my own experiences, what I've seen in my community and my family, I am starting a peer support um, gender-based violence group. Um, so I am thinking maybe monthly, but that's going to be coming up at some point down before the new year.
Okay.
I also have a poetry book that I am dropping at some point, maybe in the new year. I feel like within the year. I've been working on this book for the past like 8 years, and I'm just, like I said, I'm not afraid to slow down. Like I don't like to rush, but I feel like I'm naming it because this year a lot of things are already like finalized with it. So yes, that's what's coming up. Like, is there anything else? Oh, I do have events. Hold on.
Yeah,
I don't
come
know what
on. Promote them events, girl. Come on now.
Brooklyn Brujeria. I'm gonna be for the 21st. I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
That's at 4. And Exhale New York City. That is October 6th from 1 to 6. I'm gonna be vending for both of those. Doing readings, selling herbs,
Okay.
and
Yeah, and Brooklyn Brewery is where we met.
it
Shout out to
is.
Chelsea Smith, my good friend, longtime friend of the show. Chelsea, another community leader, another incredible, amazing person, constantly bringing all kind of amazing people together. And yeah, it's going to be on the 21st. It's still going to be under the Arch. Is it going to be under the Arch? Yep. So as always, the best location.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be in town yet. I'm hoping I can attend because, like I said, I haven't been vending much because I moved, so it's been like a lot of back and forth. But that is where we met. And do you remember? Was it you? You had bought some butter from me, and then somebody stole the butter, and you had to come back. I think it was. I don't know if it was you
What?
or someone else. It was maybe. It was like somebody had bought butter for me and was like, somebody took my butter, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Here, just like it was like, yeah, it was one of those things where it was like there was so much movement. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to your butter, babes, but you're
But
more
I
than
did buy
welcome to.
butter. I did buy multiple butters actually.
No, I think that's what I'm saying. I think it was you. I think you might have put your butter down and came back, and somebody had taken your butter, and that was like one of the first times, and I was like, oh, I gotta. I can't. I'm like, I wish I could create more. I wish I could create more things, but it's like, man, we only one person, so like you understand. We all contain multitudes, and it's been very interesting to see how everybody in the community steps into their own energy and into their own spaces and takes their individual paths. And it's like, I don't know. I'm here for the long run. I agree with you. Like, don't slow it down. As much as I would love to vend this year, I really is like, this ain't my year, and that's cool. I will
That's
if
okay.
I want if I could get to the city and support everybody, I will come to the city and I will try to buy at least something from every table. But I can't do it all right now. And I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for the when we all old and gray sitting around the table talking about, remember back in such and such when when I had good knees, we had a good time, right? Like I'm here for that. I'm
Yeah.
here for that. And I feel like, especially in old souls, we get it. Because I feel like I've been old for a long time. I feel like my personality and certain things about me don't make any sense right this minute, but it'll make sense later on. And I felt like that for a long time. And I see that in you. Like I can already see you as like a little vieja with like a little a little bata on and a cup of coffee and be like, oh, you know what? I got these teas. And you're like, all right, here she go with the tea. Exactly. So it's like, again, I see it. Like, I could totally see it. So how can people connect with you? What's your handles on the social media? What platforms are you on? What's your names on the platforms? How can we find you?
So I'm at the Brujx on IG. I'm on Twitter as Angie Hope 10, and I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, the Brujx.
Okay.
That it?
Okay.
I think so. Yes.
All right. So everybody go follow Angie. And your website. So okay. So, and I saw when I went to your website, I saw you have like a sign, like people can sign up for your newsletter and get updates about the things that's happening and all that stuff. So even though there's not anything happening on the site itself, people can still connect with you there because you got stuff coming up. So
yes,
I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, this was lovely. I had a time.
Me too.
And thank you so much for coming on. And my name is Nikki Buchanan, and you have just listened to Mind, Body, and Soul, an intimate chat with Angie the Brujx, the Bronx's own, Uptown's own doula, healer, Reiki practitioner, tarot reader, you know, like all the herbalists, hot girl, you know, all that. And we love her, and we are very appreciative of her coming on the show, and hope to see you soon and hope to have you on again soon. And I love you so much. Thank you.
Love you.